King of Casuals here, UFC 290, and it's a special day for Jake. Hi,
Hey.
Jake and Nate out there on the West Coast, and we're here to talk about UFC 290. And Nate is always the one to introduce the fights as we predict them and give our thoughts. And let's just get right into it, but let's not forget why we're here. Jack McCarthy, the one, the only, started this idea of a podcast as we made fun of people on the interwebs for calling other people casuals when they would comment on their thoughts and passions on this sport. And it may be the fans in this sport need they need a bit of polish. It's okay. We can teach them. We'll give them class. So I was called a casual once, and I said to Jack, what the hell is a casual? And he said, well, there's these guys who live vicariously through these. Mind you, he was like 16, 17 then, who live, and he used this word, vicariously through these big fighters and believe that they actually are experts on a sport where they've never participated. And I said, oh, okay. So casual would mean then that we don't know shit and we just came along when Ronda Rousey or somebody or Anderson Silva happened to pop on. Yeah, that's it. I said, let's call ourselves the casuals.
Cause I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. Cause I'm nobody bringing you the casual thing. The king of the casuals, the casual king. The king of the casuals, the casual king. King of the casuals, the casual thing. Cause ain't nobody bringing you the casual thing.
Hey, God bless Jack.
Jackie.
And we lost him to fentanyl drug-induced homicide by fentanyl. And if you're out there and thinking of ever buying a pill on any social media, Snapchat especially, and anything else, do not, because you have about an 8 in 10 chance of dying. Russian roulette. Anyway, let's get into the UFC. UFC 290.
Yeah.
Nate, take it away.
All right, so we're going to go main card here. And first fight we're going to talk about here is Bo Nichols and Val Woodburn.
Not Bo Nichols.
Nickel.
Yeah, but
right.
Listen.
Nickel.
Yeah, but Nate does it purposely. He'll mispronounce the name, so it gives you and I something to do.
Not on purpose.
Because I do, if I remember correctly, you came out with a video of apology to both on behalf of you and I to Nate, because he was right about we called him Rojas, and it was Rosas.
Rosas.
Did they kick him out of the UFC yet?
Almost. No, he's still there. One time.
I know.
It was just funny, but that's the kind
But
of
I owned
guy
up
you
to
are.
it. I owned up to it.
I'm an area fire weapon. I get kind of close to the area. I'm not a point fire weapon.
So
That boy is bird shot.
So this one is the fight that has the biggest. What am I calling it? A spread. Thank you. Spread I've ever seen, and I know why, because Val is untested to the guys like Bo Nickal. Bo Nichols, is it fair to say Bo Nickal might be great, but he may also be overrated?
Well, the problem is with these hype trains, we just don't know, right? He's had one fight, 2 fights in the UFC at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know anything, especially at these lower levels. I would imagine if you threw him into top 10 right now, it wouldn't go well for him.
I agree.
I mean,
In the lightweight division, top 10?
He's not a lightweight.
Was he? He's
He's a 185er.
Yeah, 185.
Oh, shit.
So he'd have to
185
fight
top
Israel
10?
Adesanya and Robert Whittaker.
I mean, that's murderer's row.
Yeah, I think it'd be a tough go for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I think Dana's learned his lesson with the Sage North cuts and stuff like that, where you get some hype and then all of a sudden you're thrown into deep water and it does not turn out well. And you can see that he's changed the strategy with Sean O'Malley, and Sean O'Malley's had a long time to kind of build up into what title fight next. So
And Patty.
Yeah, Patty Pimblett's the same way. I love these hype trains.
Do you think Conor McGregor was a hype train like that, or did he sort of? I don't know that Dana had a choice.
I think Conor had a lot of fights before he came into the UFC, though, too.
It was already a double champ.
Well, I wouldn't say he had a lot of fights, but he fought some decent competition outside the UFC.
Cage
he
Warriors.
He held a couple of belts within Cage Warriors, but at the same time, Conor came in and very quickly showed that he was different. Within his first couple of fights, he was making people look silly.
Yeah.
And then when it came to, the caliber of people that he started to fight and continued to make them look silly, that's different. But when you're talking about a Bo Nickal who has come in, not only did he come into the Contender Series, do exactly what I thought he was going to do. I've watched him for a long time in wrestling.
Yeah.
Knew that he wanted to come into mixed martial arts when he was done with his wrestling career, and said, man, if his stand-up and his jiu-jitsu game can come anywhere near where his wrestling's at, that dude's going to be a champion in the next 10 years. And I still believe it. I don't think Bo's overrated.
Definitely when you come into the UFC with that level of pedigree of wrestling, like you can,
wrestling's the thing. Like if you're a great wrestler, you're gonna do okay, if not all the way, depending on how you the rest. But to me, great wrestlers seem to be able to negate a lot of everything else.
Yep. And the other thing is, I want to preface by saying I want Bo Nickel to be amazing. I want him to just keep the train going. But he's had 4 fights, four fights. So I mean, this other guy's coming. This is his first UFC fight. He's undefeated as well, 7-0. Just want to keep seeing him do what he does and dominate and just keep moving the ranks. But
if Bo comes out and he wins this fight either by submission or KO TKO in the first round, there you go. I mean, this guy's coming in undefeated with more fights than Bo. More than likely, Bo's only fought in the UFC, whether it be Contender Series, which the only reason those guys are there is because they're potential UFC material. So this is a crazy fight. That for the odds to be this separated is crazy to me.
Yeah. I'm going to put $5 on Woodburn just because $5. I mean, that's fucking minus 2,500. That's or plus what 1,100.
Plus 1,100. Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth it just because who knows what's going to happen. He's had 1 UFC fight, 2 contender fights. Like anything can happen.
G on him.
I'm going to go first here.
Yeah.
I sniffing a upset knockout. This guy, I watched a couple of his fights outside. He's powerful.
Sure, look at him.
He's got dynamite in his hand.
He looks like an action figure.
Yeah,
a short one, but an action figure.
He's like Yoel Romero in a way.
Yeah.
So,
except for his eyes aren't made like another, every other human being.
Yeah. So I'm going to predict the upset. First round knockout.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm probably way wrong, but it's fun to say because otherwise it's probably going to be, he's going to get wrestle fucked.
I was going to say your least favorite form of MMA.
Well, no, I don't mind wrestling, and I love jiu-jitsu when it's like 2 jiu-jitsu guys that are like super, like 2 players that are amazing. I love to watch that. I don't like the whole just when you're getting your face kicked and then you decide to wrestle and you hold the guy down. It's smart. It's boring.
Sure, I hear you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Bo Nichols. I think it's gonna be a gorilla fuck. I think he's gonna take him down and probably ground and I just hold him down.
Yeah. I don't think Woodburn has ever faced somebody with the caliber of wrestling that Bo brings to the octagon. I think if Bo is able to get his hands on him, even as big as this guy is, Bo gets his hands on him, he gets him to the ground, and once he's on the ground, Bo may as well be a heavyweight. Because he's not the type of pressure that he has developed and is able to put on somebody from the top position. Good luck. So, I think Bo takes this guy to the ground first, second round and finishes him either by submission or TKO.
All right. Next.
Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
How do you not love? Do you see Dan Hooker's new haircut?
I sure did.
He's got those sides like mine there. That's fucking. Except he kept the hair low. It's like a surfer cut.
It's weird and blonde.
Yeah, I love Dan Hooker.
I do too.
And Jalen Turner, I feel like was he recently on the Ultimate Fighter? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't think so. I think he was a Contender Series.
Okay, he fought though recently. He fought somebody.
Yeah, he did. Hold on.
He lost to Gamrot. Yep. Decision.
He lost to who?
Split decision to Gamrot.
Yeah, but Gamrot might be the best guy in the division.
That's what I'm thinking here. Like split decision.
Yeah.
To Gamrot, and then before that, he was on at least a 4-fight win streak.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan Hooker hasn't had such good luck. But
no, but he's still just absolute beast.
No, he is.
Did Turner miss weight?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Fuck, man.
Come on, man. I fucking hate it when people don't make weight. That is such a disrespectful thing to do.
Yeah. I think sometimes they do it purposely.
Hooker should get his entire
agreed.
Make it purse. Make it hurt. Like
he should take his entire show purse.
Yeah.
He should take his entire show purse.
And then after the fans get to throw garbage on him.
Oh,
Come on.
I mean, I'm sure Turner's show purse is like $12K, so it's probably not that much. Maybe $20K if he's lucky. But he should lose something immediately, and Dan still should have the ability to say, no, I don't want to fucking fight this guy because he couldn't make weight.
Yeah, but most guys aren't going to do that.
I hear you, but I mean, somebody like Dan Hooker, who still, respectively, could be fighting for a title in the future if he turns himself around. I mean, he's a high caliber fighter. If Dan loses this fight to a guy who missed weight and it's this guy wears on him or he's whatever it is, what do you do as Dan Hooker? So
all right, I got my mind made up.
Who you got?
I got Jalen Turner in a decision.
Okay.
29-28 on all three cards.
Okay.
Man,
Nathaniel?
I'm gonna go with Dan Hooker. I fucking love that guy. I want him to get some more wins. He's been going through Murderers Row. I think he's probably fought a lot higher level of talent, and he's gonna bring that experience with him into the octagon.
Yeah, I have to agree with Nate. I think Hooker is at a different level than Turner's seen. I think Hooker's striking is better, but the nice thing about that is Turner's really confident in his striking, so he's going to be coming in on a Dan Hooker who is extremely good at countering, moving, and fucking you up. Yeah. So I think Dan Hooker takes him. I think actually Hooker TKOs him, second, third round.
I hope that you two are right and I'm wrong because I'll be rooting for Hooker. I just have a bad feeling. All right, next.
Next is Hooker and Jesus Christ.
Dracus du Plessis.
Why did you say it?
Because
I just couldn't watch him struggle.
Is it du Plessis or Duplessis?
It's Duplessis.
Okay. It was the Drickus thing. Drickus.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's usually the Drickus thing for you.
I think he's got a lot of confidence, but I think that's what's going to get him in trouble with a guy like Robert Whittaker.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my reading.
No.
He's real confident, but then when he reads out loud...
It all goes back to third grade when, so
his name's Ruckus.
Which was yesterday. I think that, I'm going to take the lead on this one. I think Robert Whittaker is too slick and too smart and too experienced. And even though this guy, it looks to be a problem, and he comes back from in every fight I've seen from behind, I think Whittaker is a different level, and I think this guy rushes in too fast, and a guy like Robert Whittaker will know what to do. And I don't think he's going to be able to take Whittaker down, and I don't think he's going to outstrike Whittaker, so how's he going to beat him?
Knock him out?
Well, maybe. But I don't know. Yoel Romero couldn't do it in 2 fights.
That was a long time ago.
I know.
A long time ago.
I mean, arguably, Whittaker beat Adesanya the second fight.
What's it say on paper?
Yeah.
Because that's all that matters.
I know, but what I'm saying is Whittaker's that good.
Yeah, Whittaker's
great.
He's a champion. He fights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
he's great.
So I'm taking Whittaker. I'm taking Whittaker by decision.
Yeah, okay. I feel the same way. Robert Whittaker by decision.
All right. I am going to go with the underdog on this one. I think Dricus is the most confident he's been. I think he comes into this fight thinking that he knows how good Robert Whittaker is, knows the caliber of people that he's fought and beat or didn't beat. But I think he comes in. I think he does get in Whittaker's face, which I think benefits Dricus. I think he gets in his face, he pressures him. He's the one that's controlling the octagon. And Whittaker is going to be more of a defensive fighter most of this fight. But I think it's a split decision going to Dricus at the end of this one. I think he takes it and he starts really looking at potential title fights.
King of the Casuals, UFC 290. Tune in right after this one to hear our final and main event predictions.
Cause I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. I'm the king of the casuals, the casual king. Cause I'm nobody bringing you the casual thing. The king of the casuals, the casual king. The king of the casuals, the casual king. King of the casuals, the casual thing. Cause ain't